Great, like to start the meeting. Like to call the meeting at 5:30.
Mic check. Is this active or not?
There we go.
How's that?
Okay. All right. There's been any addition, deletion to our agenda?
None from me.
We have some additions A and B. Payroll warrants and also, am I looking at the right thing, brother?
Well, minutes from the select board first from the previous meeting.
Oh, sorry.
We're on a 61. You want any higher?
No.
You want chili?
All right, yes.
Sharon will knit something for us.
Okay, minutes from the 2000, the 10:25 meeting of the select board minutes. Any additions or deletions?
None from me.
Okay. All right, let us move on to payroll and warrants for approval.
So do you want to vote to approve those minutes?
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine.
All in favor?
Yeah, make a motion to approve the 2:10 minutes.
All right. I will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Oh, you missed one.
Kathy, I'll go to you. Is this sound okay out there? I can't tell. Okay, Bob's got you behind you too. All right, good.
Kind of all a test, so working in progress here. Let me know if it needs to be louder, softer. You can change the bass, the treble, all that stuff.
You in Tampa?
Uh-huh. I know. Mouse.
No, I had to do a convention. Didn't make it out of the hotel complex.
We got small, yeah, solar panels. Yeah, the ones in the garage. It's small. It's hard to do some cloudy days.
It's on there.
Clouds and stuff. Blades.
Yeah.
Carbide blades.
Yep.
Testing, testing.
No, no, like, or was it, one was?
Yeah, one's mileage.
Okay,
Yeah, one's just mileage.
oh, gotcha, yeah. Okay, cool. And
Yeah,
yeah,
she
you
doesn't.
can,
Thanks.
yeah,
And that's your doing the regular standard government rate.
I'm sorry, yes, yeah, she's getting the regular.
that feels crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I'm like,
for a month.
yeah, it's the record it's been in 10 years.
Yeah.
The IRS.
And it's been held at that forever. Yeah.
I'm like, am I doing something wrong? I'm checking, what do we add? When the heat pump, but that's been fine the past couple winters, but it's colder now.
Mhm. Well, give it another 2 years, it'll be all paid off, and then we'll be paying $30 a month.
Okay.
That's good. You're like Walter Cronkite. Hey, I'd like to make a motion to approve the AP and payroll warrants.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, road foreman report, Mr. Klucher. Yeah.
Back, clean it out. I'm gonna have to speak up.
Microphone.
We're pushing back and cleaning out into culverts now. Trying to get the ditches all open, so if it thaws or rains, we're gonna be happy. And we did have a truck go down there in that storm, that door broke up on the bed chain.
I saw that in the bills, yeah,
He's scared he's got caught in it. So.
yeah. It's kind of expensive, but you know, it is what it is.
I can't do it with that door.
No, you can't.
We're gonna be changing a bed chain in that truck here. So.
Okay. All right. Yes,
Rick, how many culverts need to be replaced in the town?
Most of the big ones, we've got most all the small ones done.
So the big ones on Canton Road
We
or?
got the road, two on Lockwood Road. Two down on Lake Road. But most of the little ones have been done.
So you got about 6 to 10 to replace?
Yeah, plus there's probably still another 10, 15 small ones.
You know, you have those on
Yeah,
like,
it's on.
on the plan, like
It's
we're
on-
gonna replace this one in 5 years from
It's on
now.
culvert, but Hawkins Road. I've been trying to wait for a return for grant money for structures, because there's all the big culverts. Like a 5-footer now is costing $13,000. Small section, so.
Thank you.
yes, Sharon.
The question just up on Fifty Street.
Yeah,
That one has not been replaced for a long time.
I've got pictures of it, it's in the book, Sharon, we did that. And it's plastic, and that was done, I believe it was 2013.
Okay, well, that's 11 years.
Yeah, and it's plastic, and it's supposed to last 30.
Okay, well, it's, clogged. You can't see the end of it on the north side of the road there,
On Randy's side,
on my side. On the schoolhouse side, you can't find the opening of the culvert there. I've been out with my DR trimmer and trying to whack the leaves back, trying to find it, and it used to be visible, it's no longer visible, I'm just letting you know.
no, it could be one
It's-
of stuff covering it.
It's
Yeah.
either dirt has moved and covered it up, but it's no longer visible, because I've been trying to keep it clean with my mowers and weed eaters and stuff.
No, we can go down and check it out, I didn't know about it.
Yeah, no, I don't, you can no longer see the opening on the schoolhouse side or swallowing at the bottom. And then one other question is that there has been a lot of, discussion from a lot of different people about the need for 2 large dump trucks. Can you explain
Yeah.
and kind of go
Yeah.
over that a little bit, please?
We used to always play cat and mouse, and we had one little truck and one medium-sized truck, then when we went ditching, we also had to get another town to let us use their truck so we can keep the excavator and backhoe going. Because we can't just go dump dirt here and there without, sometimes you can't get in a lot of places. To
Okay,
get
but
a
now we
truck,
have
so
2
it's
big
not-
dump trucks and
Yeah.
1 little one.
And both of them dump trucks in the summertime are always ditching, and I always get a free guy from Verden's or Addison to help. But you were down on West Road when we were ditching that, all them trucks are moving. And we're dumping quite a ways away.
Okay, I mean, people were asking the question.
We also use those trucks for plowing, because we use both of the large trucks for plowing, because it's essential, because like,
We're not reloading.
right,
Well, I've seen the smaller truck more often this year than
If
the
it's
2
a-
big trucks.
If it's a small storm, or try to run that side, I'll blades and do that.
Yeah, I see 1 big truck go by 4 times, and then I see the little truck come by and go by another 4 times.
yeah, that's why we bought it, the smaller dump truck. We're trying to utilizing the smaller dump truck, because it's cheaper to run, because the cost per mile on the bigger trucks is expensive, and we try not to drive them as much as possible. And the smaller truck has got an 8-year warranty on it, so we're gonna keep that thing till the wheels pop off of it. But it's big enough to haul culverts and putting gravel, or if we're doing any kind of coal patching, it's a perfect deal for that. And it's easy to unload the product because it is a dump, and that's why we went with that vehicle.
And then I had another question about the amount of salt that they use. I went back through the last 4 years of budgets, and the price of salt has basically been flat. Between 45 to 50,000 winter road materials, it hasn't changed that much. It did go up 18,000, I think the 4th year ago, or the 5th year ago, I forgot, I have it written down, I forgot that paper. But anyway, that is not a line item that's been driving the budget up. But my question is, there are programs that are trying to reduce the amount of salt that's flowing into the lake that, they put on the roads.
That's why I use the salt, Sharon, and use the sugar beet chips.
I know, I read that. Are they gonna do that?
No, I'm already doing it. I've been doing it.
He's already doing it. Oh, you're doing the sugar beet juice?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have for the last 8 years.
Oh, okay, yeah, I read about that. That it does reduce the corrosion on vehicles and stuff. I'm not sure environmentally, it's maybe a little bit, more environmental friendly. But I mean, Lake Champlain Basin Community did a whole big thing on, the amount of salt that drains into the lake. And so, I mean, I'm just asking questions. Why, is the amount of salt, how do you guys gauge how much salt? Is there a limit on how much you use?
The truck program at 200 pounds per mile.
Okay, per year.
Yeah, that's the same as what the state's at Shelburne.
Okay, because Vermont is not a bare road state. They don't require bare roads. I mean, you're supposed to slow down according to the weather, you know, I mean,
We get people do that.
well, if they don't do it, then they're gonna end up in the ditch, and that's not your fault, that's theirs.
Well, actually, that would be our fault because it's our responsibility, the town. If you don't maintain and take care of your roads, and you're liable for your action because this is what you're supposed to do as a town, is to make sure of that. And I don't think you want us to be going to court every time someone goes and does that. And let me finish, Sharon. I know you're like talking more, but we use limited amount of salt. We try to get the best price we possibly can for salt, because some towns use the
It's a salt brine.
salt brine on it already. It looks bluish if you could ever see it coming out there. That stuff's really expensive. And the price of salt is all over the place, and depends where you get it and depends who hauls it in for you. It gets really expensive really fast. If you're getting it from Shelburne, you're going to be paying lots and lots of money because it's a monopoly and that's the way it is. And you're going to have to pay a lot of money for your salt. We use very limited. We use more sand than we do salt.
Okay, well, I just mentioned how much money had been allocated for salt over the last 4 years. It has not changed, it's pretty much flat.
That does salt, sand, and everything.
Yeah, okay, so it says right at the Vermont Department of Transportation that Vermont is not, they do not expect bare roads in these storms, and that it's a slow speed, safe road.
Would you feel comfortable like to have the roads in Waltham?
Hey, I know how to drive them.
I'm just asking, do you want the roads like they have in Waltham?
That's okay.
I'm glad.
Hang on, do you have a comment? Yeah, go ahead.
I know we didn't get all the listed that we wanted last season.
Last two.
How many persons do you have there right now?
I got probably 8, 9.
Okay, that's a good number.
Because I try to keep some on hand in case of emergency and I throw one in.
So how many, I know those are smaller systems, how many are you thinking you're going to install this year? I know things change.
I got 2 on Tan Road that's absolutely gotta get done.
Those are those huge ones, right?
Yeah, the one by Bobby Hall, and the next one by, there's nothing left to love.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
And I mean, we don't, I had Larry Minor hauling some big stones, I said, they're all starting to go.
No, I was just curious if you had some stuff on here, so you didn't have to go out for.
No, I try to keep some on for like the floods and emergencies.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Kathy.
I would just like to comment on Howard's comment about Waltham's roads. There's nothing wrong with Waltham's roads. I drive on them twice a day, every school day. I drive on Green Street and Maple Street. There's nothing wrong with the roads.
Well, compared to everybody else in the vicinity of Addison County, those are pretty rough roads. But fine, if you like those roads, and if you want us to do that, we could do that. We could cut the salt budget and all those items.
It's just a comment. It's okay. Thanks, Kathy. Anyone else? Yeah, Melissa?
What about the tree grant that we have, the $16,000 tree grant? What's the status of that? And is there-
Diana Raphael resigned from the tree committee. So
I took over management of that grant. Rick and I met with a arborist, what was the name of that company? Was it? Valcourts. We met with Valcourts. We laid out a plan with him. We told him what our budget was according to the grant. And we made an action plan to go through and use as much of the cutting budget of the grant budget that we could, with Rick and Jeff providing the in-kind labor that is part of the grant agreement, and also doing some of that cleanup and stuff like that. The grant came out to be about $16,000. And of that, about 12 is going to be used for the actual cutting. So they're going to basically go as far as they can with that 12. He didn't give us a promised figure of trees to be removed, but he gave us a pretty good estimate that he could get quite a ways down the list of what we were talking about. It's still in process. He has yet to do the work, but he did talk about it's gonna happen within the next couple months. And yeah, as I said, I've took over as administrator of that grant, so I'm doing the administrative side of it. And yeah, we had a meeting on it. It should be, I mean, it's gonna be in process. It's just, it hasn't gone yet. So.
And one last question, is it a reimbursable grant or did you get the money up front?
We could get the money, so the grant goes all the way through until until December of 2025. So we could have gotten a little bit of money up front. We could have gotten half the money at the midpoint grant stage, and we can get the rest of it at the end of the grant. Since we expended no money, we haven't gotten any money yet, but we could get that money at any time. I spoke with the grant coordinator at Forest Parks and Recreation, or Agency of Natural Resources, I should say. I'm not sure that she's FPR. I spoke with the grant coordinator. I asked her what best practice was. She said, when you start spending money, or even just a little bit before, apply to, contact me, submit the receipts, submit what you're thinking of doing, and you'll get the money up front. We could get up to half up front, which is 5,600 or something like that of that 12,000, that 11,500, 12,000. So we could get up to 8,000 right now, I think, and then the rest of it will come at the end of it.
Any other road yeah, good.
I grew in Texas where there's, rarely any snow or ice. And so I'm not really experienced in driving on these roads. So I really appreciate the fact that, they're usually, unless there's snow, like today or the day before, the roads are clear. And I feel confident, if I need to go to the grocery store or something, I can do that. So I'm.
Good, thank you. Anything else road wise? Yeah, Jamie.
So Rick, thank you very much for in the town annual report, there is a paving plan. And so I just wanted to comment now so we're prepared at town meeting. I think you might get some additional questions. So some of the things I would be looking for in the paving plan, in addition to what you laid out, is if you could provide at town meeting a better description of what is the recommendation, the best practice for roads.
If you come tomorrow, Jamie, there's a big meeting.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, that's gonna explain all
The road foreman's meeting open to the public, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. here at the town hall. It's going to have all the road foremen from Madison County. There's going to be presenters from Allstate Consulting, Agency of Transportation, Addison County Regional Planning, and other professionals in the field. And they'll be describing everything related to the cost of paving the road, when you determine how to pave a road, what the determination you should make in looking at that road. All those things are going to be talked about at that meeting tomorrow, presented to all the road foremen in Wednesday, all the road foremen in Addison County in one fell swoop.
Right, but at town meeting, we will likely get some questions to expand that plan a little bit, the information included in that plan. So what is the best practice in terms of when roads should be paved, and maybe some idea of what the cost would be. So if that
you can't give a cost because you never know what the price of paving is.
You can come up with an estimate based on today's dollars or something, just so we get an idea.
Because it used to be 100 grand a mile. This year, 100 grand didn't cover a mile.
Right, but if we're going to be planning to make sure we're maintaining our roads, we need to have some idea what budget is sufficient.
Usually an average paved road is eight years, you're saying. But I got some roads, like Canton Road, after we reclaimed it, reground it, did the whole 9 yards, it's been 13 years, because it's got a good base in it. I got Button Bay Road that was paved probably 8 years ago, and it's fallen all apart, which was my plan was to do that this year until I had all the washouts up on Z's Road. A lot of these roads still don't have a good base under them. But I put a base from Canton Road all the way to Virgins.
Well, and the only other thing I think would be helpful for town meeting is to give us some idea. I know we weren't eligible for a road grant, because our roads actually were in really good shape, which is great.
You aren't eligible for a grant every 4 or 5 years. It has nothing to do if the roads are good or not. As long as you're putting money into the roads.
That was not my understanding. I understood it was they
our roads are a lot better than most of the towns around here.
Right, I just want to make sure we're maintaining the roads at a rate that would allow us to be eligible for. So this is, again, is that being taken into account in your long range?
Yeah, because I can't get class 2 paving money for my class 3 roads. You know, like Arnold Bay Road and all that. And I got Jersey Street up to class 2 a few years ago. And my plan was, which I don't know if I'm gonna keep going of it or not anymore, I was gonna do Arnold Bay Road, get that to class 2, make West Road class 3. Because I gotta have so many class 3s to get class 2. That goes off the percentage. And West Road's already, most of it's class 3. It's class 3 all the way to the dam, all the way up past Cindy's. Then I got a short section up by Chuck's land, which is class 4. And what I did is when we were doing a base on Panton Road, I took all my base material and made a base down that road. And I think it came out pretty decent, that road. So that's my goal was, because I get more money for class 2 and I can get grants for those roads.
Yeah, actually, that makes just good management sense, so thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
So Rick, can you tell us why we didn't get your grant this year for 200,000?
Because they changed things around, we lost, the state has Jim Cota, a new guy there, and he wanted to make it fair with everybody. And it's 29 towns that get, and they haven't been getting enough money to get everybody the 200,000.
So Canton didn't get it because.
There's just not enough there to do it this year. It's all in how much money the legislature gives them.
I actually just met with, well, I met with Jim Cota last week, Friday. He came to the town hall. He and I went through a variety of different things related to agency transportation stuff and grant funding. And he reiterated, it's not necessarily that, and I think, again, it was a mistake of communication here, probably on my part, my newness in understanding what he was saying. It's not because our roads are too good that we're not getting money. There's 29 towns, they get $5 million, $200,000 each grants. They're trying to spread it out. So they try and spread it out to as many towns as possible. If a town takes the grant, that moves them down for the next, down to the bottom of the list. If a town doesn't take the grant, they stay at approximately their position. So between, 5 and 7 towns, depending on how many people take the grant as you go along, we'll always kind of be in that rotation. If Panton started at number 1 and we took the money, then we're at 29. Then the next year we're at 25, 24, then the next year we're at 19, then the next year we're at 16, then the next year we're at 11, then the next year we're at 6, and then we get the grant again. So it's like a big rotation of he's spreading the money out because they only get about $5 million a year to spread that money out.
See, and I'd like to see them do away with the grants and just give us, divide the money up between all the towns up there at the beginning. But he won't allow that.
Is this a change in the past?
Yeah, it has, because Dick Hoskins used to do it, and he did it a whole different way. He favored some towns that we're finding out.
Yes.
I'd like to, again, thank Jeff and Rick for the job they do. There are times that I'm up at weird hours, I'll have a cup of coffee standing outside at 3:30 in the morning watching for plowing. And I've had some interactions with some people in Waltham who were asking us, I wish we had roads like yours. I'm not going to name the people because I don't have their permission to give their names, but I've talked to several people in Waltham who talked about the Sunday massacre, I guess you could call it. They said that they were going off the road, they couldn't get anywhere, they were very scared that if they had some emergency here. And even people who actually live there and drive over the road. So, thank you, Rick, thank you, Joe, really appreciate what you guys do.
That's what happens.
Excuse me, Sharon. We're not gonna get,
Do you have a
we're not
question,
gonna get
Sharon?
an argument about snow sowing
That's
and
okay. Do
plowing.
you have a question, Sharon?
I mean, it's a snowstorm. People can't expect that the roads are gonna be clean and dry. That's what happens in snowstorms. Cars get stuck, accidents happen, you have to wait it out. That's just what
Okay,
happens
thank you.
in a snowstorm.
Our roads were clear.
And so Sharon, the point is, it's just a nice
My
cut.
neighbor went in his ditch coming down.
Sharon?
Okay, thanks. Thanks, everyone.
that's enough.
Thanks. It was a.
That's not the-
Sharon,
Sharon, please,
Sharon, stop.
please,
Yes,
take a breath. We're gonna hang out. Rick, Jeff, I appreciate your time. Really do. And we'll see you guys, town meeting.
okay, thanks, guys. Okay, great. All right, let us move on to our treasurer clerk's report, please.
Clerk report first, elections are going great. Everything has been posted. I thank Sharon very much for that post on Front Porch Forum. If folks do want absentee ballots, do contact the town clerk's office. They're not sent out automatically, you know, like in general elections. So if you do want one, contact the town clerk's office. You can even come vote early in the town clerk's office. It's just treated as an absentee ballot. In terms of signups, I'm still looking for maybe one more person who would like to volunteer for election day assistance, if anyone's interested. I have like one, or I can fluctuate, you know, shift some people around or something, but I'd be interested in having one more person help on election day if possible. Other clerk updates are, and of course I left my list of clerk updates downstairs. I was having printer problems all afternoon. Other clerk updates are a nice sound system. We very much appreciate the folks from Vermont Sound Productions helping us with that, and also the input from the community. Still looking for any kind of ideas for sound dampening. I had a few people reach out. Would like to special thanks again to Paula and Maggie, and now soon to be Gretchen and Robin, helping with filing down in the town offices. I got approximately $1,500 worth of file cabinets over the last week or so for free. And I've installed them down in the town office, and they are ready to be filled. So we're looking for help doing that. And we had Gretchen Bailey and Robin Hebert, who worked for the town for a little bit, coming to help out with, they're gonna be focusing on zoning and zoning particulars. Treasurer updates, the town is in a decent position, continues to be in a decent position from last week. I did not print out the balance sheet, the balance summary report. However, there were no major fluctuations in the town's finances over the last week. We did complete our pre-audit work for the RHR Smith Audit Company. We are in process with them working on the full audit list now, which is, you know, many pages of things that we have to provide, and we are very hopeful that things are continuing to move forward in a great direction. They're very happy with the work that we've been doing. I did hire, the town has now established an official relationship with Becky Condon, who is going to be doing the account reconciliation for the town and additional services, offer additional services to the town, which include NEMRIC module reconciliation, which is a big term for making sure our books agree with each other, because they don't always necessarily talk nice. But we're very happy to have Becky, and we really appreciate having her as a resource here in the town. That also means that the money the town's spending is going to stay in hand, and we were paying someone from Ferrisburg to do it before, so now we have someone who can do it, which is great. And I believe that that's it for treasurer report right now. And yeah, Kathy first, I guess.
Why is there so much filing to be done? There hasn't been any getting done, or what?
Yeah, it's been many years that hasn't been getting done. It's an overwhelming job. It's like, I thought coming into the position I would have time to do it. So I've been probably averaging about 50 or 60 hours a week. I was here Saturday and Sunday this week. I'm not charging the town for that. This is part of the process of being a town clerk, learning to be a town clerk, learning to be a better town clerk. I'm not charging the town for my time in that. I'm not charging the town for coming in to set up the speaker system or work on filing or extra projects or stuff like that. I'm here to help the town and to make things better. It's an overwhelming aspect of the job that the records retention policy for any town or city in Vermont is extremely high. We have to keep a ton on paper copies. It's really easy to get overwhelmed when things just keep coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in. We are just about able to keep like even pace with what's coming in, but in terms of what has been done in the past, it's too much. So I generously and graciously, folks from the town have volunteered to help in this position, or with this aspect of the job, and I really appreciate it. And it has made our lives so much easier to then file something. So something comes in, this week I had a whole stack of like a manila folder like this, come in all different things that I had to file. But because the file cabinet was organized, I was able to file that in 5 minutes. Whereas before, it would have stayed in a pile and I wouldn't have been able to do anything. So I really appreciate the folks that have helped out in this, and we're gonna gain on it. And once we gain on it, we're gonna get ahead, and then we're not gonna have to do this.
But I was past town clerks are not. It's part of your job.
It's really easy to be overwhelmed. Is definitely the answer to that. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Anything else?
Not for treasurer report. There's some other stuff, obviously, with, you know, there's a lot of other stuff going on. So
Okay.
we can move on to the next one.
Yeah,
All right,
move on.
yeah, go ahead.
No, move on.
Question here.
Yep,
I would say, when I was here, all the records need to be in the safe, the ones that, you know, not burned down.
Yep.
And then there was, file cabinets that fire.
Mhm.
But that were the listers.
Mhm.
So are these new file cabinets and the things going in there, are they fireproof cabinets? Or should they have been fireproof cabinets for this, the paper that is sitting outside of the safe?
No, none of the file. I don't believe so. My initial answer is no. The things that are being filed are things that are, the record retention policy is, we don't know what we have yet in terms of what's in these like banker's boxes full of things. And so as I find things that need to be in the vault, they move into the vault. And so I don't know what I have yet to be able to say I can get rid of stuff. So I'm trying to establish what I have. And then secondly, 2 of the file cabinets came from Putnam and Menard down in Middlebury. And I'm not sure if they're fireproof, but they're definitely of a high quality, and they might be. So I'm going to check in on that. That's a great question. But as I come across things that should be kept in the vault, it goes into the vault. So the things right now are like zoning minutes from like 2006, but things that I need because I had to answer questions about them for people who like lawyers and stuff. A surveyor was there today looking through stuff like that. So.
yes, Kip.
How many years is the retention policy for the town?
Well, so there's 2 different retention policies. One, there's the state retention policy, and then 2, there's a town retention policy. The town retention policy is like additive on top of the state retention policy. So it varies from document to document. I don't have a copy right in front of me. It's literally different for every single document. I can post it on the website. What the town.
5 years, 10 years?
Some documents are forever. There are some things that are 20 years. There are some things that are until the next audit. There are some things that are 5 years. There are some that are 10. There are some that are 1. There are some that are 3. It's the record retention policy is like a 15, 20-page document in and of itself. So
That's
yeah.
from the state.
Yeah, that's from the state. But also Panton adopted one, I want to say years ago. I don't know exactly when. It was several years ago. Panton adopted one that added certain requirements on top of the state's retention policy. I don't know 100% when that happened.
Kyle, do you think that document that the state, that the town put together needs to be looked at and be updated?
It probably could, yeah, given the fact that we're doing a lot of digital storage, given the fact that, we could establish secure ways to store documents digitally, like we could store a hard drive in the vault, like a solid state hard drive in the vault, and that would hold a lot of documents and be protected from fire in the same way that paper documents are. So we could examine that, yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to get to a place where I know what I have. That's the thing. I hate operating through ignorance. Yes.
So when will we have reports for 2025? Because we're 8 months into it now and we are not managing our budget. And so how do we know where we are? How does the select board, do you know where you are in the budget? Do you know if we're going to make it to the end of the year with the budget we have? Do you have that information? And you don't know.
So I talked about the budget to actual at the last select board meeting. I didn't give the exact number, and I don't have the exact number in front of me right now, but we're in about 60% budget to actual right now total overall. Meaning that we've spent about 60% of the budgeted amounts. It's obviously the average of the entire budget. So the audit report we're hopefully going to get with it, we're doing the audit work right now. RHR Smith is obviously very busy with other towns doing their audit reports right now, but most towns finish their audits by town meeting day, so it looks like they're gonna clear up and be able to help us. And it looks like after town meeting day, they're gonna be able to come in and do the actual physical in-house work. I'm hopeful to really have it by May. They haven't given me a date yet, so I don't wanna promise a date, but I'm really hopeful to have it by May.
I'm talking about what we're operating.
What we're operating at right now, excuse me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, that are good, I mean, good, they've been reconciling, they're good.
Yeah, they've been, well, so 24, the pre-audit work that Becky and I have done for fiscal year 24 has actually exposed mostly just accounting errors that were not hugely significant. And the few that were, there was one or two that the auditors themselves made. The actual other numbers, there were some issues with prepaid taxes, there were some issues with tax credits and things like that. It's really not amounting to very much at all. I mean, right, we have most of the trial balance is actually, Becky's been working really diligently on this. The trial balance is in agreement in almost every category, and the ones that it's not, we're talking less than like, I think the number that she said last time we chatted about this was like less than $20,000, which is pretty good considering that, you know, we didn't know where we were, you know, starting this process, it was a lot different. So we're really hopeful that the numbers we're using for 25 are pretty accurate if they were based on 24, which is turning out to be pretty accurate as well, just really accounted for. So it's not like we're hundreds of thousands of dollars off in any direction. It's not like
The tax module was offering, the tax receivable module was offering 100,000, has that been reconciled?
it wasn't off by 100,000. It was not. We can speak about this. Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be happy to show you. Becky and I have gone through it. We were unable to find what you were talking about in that specific thing. We wanted to know more because when we looked at it, what was off was like property tax receivables, because certain things were classified as receivables instead of revenue, and then revenue as receivables. There were credits where there shouldn't have been. There were things like that. So, but it was not $100,000 off. No. So I'd love to know, because I know what you were talking about, because Donna had mentioned the fact that report, you know. Yeah. I would, yeah.
So back to the question, we don't have numbers for 2025, that doesn't have anything to do with 24. We're talking about the voted budget, what's been spent towards the voted budget for 25, where do we stand in 2025? That's the number, that's what I'm looking for right now, is wanting to know how we stand, because if we are short, or if we project forward to the end of June, and, you know, what are we gonna not buy right now? Are we gonna like maybe not have as much salt? Are we gonna have less sand? How are we managing these numbers, other than just being in and writing a check without knowing if we're over or under, and making these decisions that's based on that? That is what I think management is of the budget, and I don't get a sense that that's happening yet, and we're 8 months into it. So that concerns me. Maybe it doesn't concern anybody else in this room, but to me it does. And I'm sorry to everybody else if I keep bringing this stuff up, but to me it is a big deal. And so I apologize if I offend anybody by this, but I'm concerned, and I would like to see action on that at some point in the future.
I completely agree, and I am also, I mean, I feel the pressure of making sure that comes about, that we're not in a deficit, that we're not deficit spending, things like that. I have cut work in multiple places in the town office. I've cut our IT services, I've cut our paper and physical office supplies things. I've talked to Rick and Jeff about reducing the amount of things that they're buying right now so that we can make sure that we're gonna make it adequately to the end of the year. And I've also talked to the select board about, hopefully, we're going to be spending out of some reserve funds if we do approach that place of not, having to cover deficits and things like that. So I get what you're saying, and I take it to heart, because I take it very seriously. I'm not looking to run a deficit or have any kind of financial issues at all. My goal is a balanced budget and a zero balance, ideally with reserve funds separate. So, I mean, we're doing everything that we can to reduce costs.
Yeah, I guess the question would be, not to cut you off, but what would we need to have that? Because we talked about it last select board meeting too.
Yeah.
percentage to where we are actual. And
Yeah, it's about 65%.
to Melissa's point, like, are we off a year? Like, I'm trying to gauge, like, are we missing something that we should be speaking about, or are we waiting on the
No,
internet?
I had said that I should include this in every report, or excuse me, in every select board meeting, and I fell short of that goal.
No, that's fine.
So-
We usually do. I mean, it was once a month type of thing. So
And
it's
I
not
want to
every
make
meeting.
sure that you are fully and adequately informed about this. So I will make sure that the budget to actual is an absolute regular part. And that's basically the number that's showing how much we budgeted.
But is that what Melissa's talking about?
Yeah, that's for
Okay.
FY
Is
25.
that right, Melissa? Like, we had it last meeting. I'm just curious. Every meeting, okay. Right, if we're way over, yeah.
We had that last week.
Yeah.
You're not flowing through to budget to actual, that's gonna be real numbers that you should be working with.
Yeah.
So when is the balance sheet as well as the budget to actual needs?
Yeah, no, I agree. The first thing that Becky did when she came on was help with the balance sheet. That's what I had Nemrick accountants here for. That's what I had Becky doing, was work on the current year balance sheet, because there were a lot of mistakes. The bank balances were not agreeing with the Nemrick balances. It took weeks of labor to get to the point where those things now agree. Our balance sheet, our cash shows what Nemrick shows. We are in agreement. I've reduced the bank accounts down to 2 accounts. We are doing everything in our power to reduce expenditures where we can. We're not just blindly signing checks. We caught a mistake the other day. Zoom cashed a check that we had paid online, and they took our money. So I'm fighting for $150. Like, I'm taking the fight to them. I'm not looking to blindly just spend money here. I question everything that comes across my desk.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, Melissa's just concerned when we
Yeah,
did,
no, I
like, for
apologize
last
if I
week. No, I think if I can try and interpret just layman's terms and non-accountant speak, but just thinking, are we, like, when you give us the budget to actuals, is that actual not accurate? That's what Melissa seems to be concerned about, but I think as far as you're concerned, it is accurate
Yeah.
to the best of our ability.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
I mean, come in and talk more, and you would know more than me, so I'm not gonna battle numbers there in that sense, but I think that would be what I'm understanding as, we've gotta take it as the best we have in front of us, and that's what Kyle has to work with. I don't know what we're waiting for, like a ball to drop, that's like, oh wait, we're way off. But I think he's picking up where he can, like the little things, like he said.
We do it once a month.
Yeah.
So it was done last meeting.
We'll bring it to the town meeting too. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And we were under, so it's like we felt comfortable. Okay. We can go back.
I mentioned it, and I think that there probably could have been more discussion. So I will happily bring it, and it will certainly be a component of town meeting. I'm putting together a presentation for town meeting, showing budget to actual, showing budget to actuals over time, showing budget variances and differences, showing components of what our budget is made up of, showing what we're spending money on, where we've overexpended over the years, where we've underexpended. You know, we budgeted $100,000 for something and only spent 50, where that variance is. So anything that I'd be happy to work with anyone's particular interests on this thing, and to expand this to be more inclusive of.
So what
the greater
we look
spectrum.
for as a board, or we have over years, if we're somehow like over percentage wise, so if we're 8 months in a 12-month cycle, then, and we're over, then that's when we have to be like, oh crap, we got to look at where we're going to cut. But to our understanding, like when Kyle has presented, it's not like a holy cow moment. So that's what we're coming for with numbers. I just want to make sure you guys are on the same page too, like we're not missing something, communicate that. Because Kyle, I think you're doing the best you can with that too.
I'm tolerably confident that what we say we have and what we're spending and what is budgeted is pretty accurate right now. I mean, there's obviously, of course, there's things here and there, the banking, we have outstanding checks because we paid AP this week.
Yeah.
So we got $30,000.
Yeah. So Melissa, I think it makes sense, like, because that's an important topic for sure for a town meeting. Like, let's dig in a little bit more on that, because we'll have an updated number on that for Monday too.
Yeah, a couple of questions.
Yeah, Sharon.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this to Kyle. Here is the Vermont statute about the duties of select boards as to a deficit and how they're supposed to be treated. I've not seen this happening yet, so I'm gonna.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kathy?
I was just gonna ask Kyle, is it different than what's in the town report, what you and Melissa are talking about?
Well, the town report, so what I included in the town report was a budget to actual as of the day of publication in the town report. So obviously it evolved, it'll get close, yeah, it'll get further along, and the number will grow, you know. Those were just referenced on that day, you know, and I apologize if you can't read them. I have town reports now, obviously too. But I apologize if you're having trouble reading them, and be happy to provide you a separate print copy of anything that's in the town report. I know it's difficult. It's the fault of the program that we use. It's not the printer.
Anything else? All right. Kyle, let's move on to local emergency management plan 2025.
Yes. So thanks very much to Bob Groff, who alerted me to needing to update the local municipal emergency management plan, or excuse me, the local emergency management plan. There's two different forms that the gentleman, Harry Shopman, was looking to get updates on. One of them is the local emergency management plan municipal adoption form, and the other was the actual plan itself. So if we could start with the adoption, municipal adoption form. Basically what has to happen is we have to include the adoption date. We have to include the REMC emergency services appointee and an email address, which I've spoken to Bob about, and perhaps you can shed some light on if you heard back from that gentleman. He has not. Okay. So we may have to table this until we find somebody for that. Okay. Awesome. All right. So we might have to table this until we find somebody for that, since it is the regional emergency management coordinator position. Is that REMC? Yeah. So the regional emergency services appointee is the appointee who we got last year from VARS. Yep. And who we've contacted to try and also participate this year, who has not gotten back to us yet. Unless there's another participant in town, someone who would like to volunteer. Generally need somebody with emergency services background and things like that.
Yeah, right. Okay. So we have to table this too right now?
The second thing is the actual plan itself. Now this we were able to, it's mostly the same as last year, with the addition of some of the business. They changed the form this year. So they were looking basically to ask, what businesses do we have standing contracts with? So like, who would we go to if we needed fuel, or if we needed emergency this or that, or,
and how many dump trucks we have. And
yeah, things like that. And so we have very few standing contracts, and so we were able to that was pretty easy for us, because besides salt, plow blades, and a few other things, we don't really have standing contracts. We just contract as needed. So that was updated. The one thing that I would like to see happen for the emergency management plan, and it's really, there's no serious or significant changes of any kind, but the, I think it's in the adoption form. No, where is it? It's who has ability to, oh, excuse me, right here. Under section 3, it reads, using municipal resources. Use municipal resources, mutual aid agreements, and local purchases first to get resources for response as needed and as available. So it asks, who is authorized to make emergency purchases and what are their spending limits? Please note the town is responsible for ensuring individuals listed in this plan are aware of and following these limits. Currently, the emergency management plan only lists the select board as able to make emergency purchases. I would like to amend that to include the road foreman and also the town clerk. Both of us have credit cards for the town. Both of us would be able to make, have access to information perhaps a little faster. And but that's, again,
it's basically the state's asking you, who would they contact? That's what they're basically what this form is.
Okay.
It's a contact. So if they think that we need more gravel or something like that, or our trucks are out doing something for another town, like during Irene, then they would say, hey, you need fuel or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they want to make sure that they know who to talk to. They ask for the money, or this is what happens here.
Okay.
So it's basically, it's not really a huge thing, but
Okay.
we could do that now if you'd like.
If you want to
Yeah.
adopt this one or change that.
We could change that and
If the select board thinks that's appropriate, I just think that the
like
addition-
I'm just saying, in the event of an emergency,
In an emergency, yeah.
you will be using your credit card, and Rick will be using this credit card, and it isn't like, it doesn't matter, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think authorizing it because on the adoption form, I made sure to update the various and sundry phone numbers and email addresses. So we want to make sure that they can reach the people who then can do the actual expenditures.
Yeah.
So I think that might be appropriate.
Yeah.
okay,
Yep, I agree.
Okay. So I'll add that to draft and we'll have that maybe after we talk to try to find somebody for the REMC. Because I think that's going to be a pretty necessary component of the plan. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. Okay.
Okay.
So table this until we get more information in the area.
all right, let's move on to the town hall use and agreement update and proposal for adoption.
Yes, I spoke to the town's insurance adjuster from Passive. I did a walk through the entire town hall. It was free. It was included with our purchase of insurance from them. The town is great. The town hall, these town offices, town hall are great. We pass all safety inspections. The town insurance adjuster was very happy with our signage, our fire extinguishers, our various trip hazards, all the windows, doors, lock mechanisms, emergency escapes, all those different things. He works for, it's VLCT Passive, which stands for the
It's a subsidiary.
yeah, it's a subsidiary of VLCT, which it manages their insurance, basically. It insures municipalities. And he and I then sat down and reworked the town hall use policy, of which the select board would need to agree to the general policy, and the individual policies would then kind of flow from that. The general policy is basically, in many ways, just codifying what exists right now in the existing policy, but it provides indemnity for the town in case of injury, and I can read you the exact language that we chose. And it changes one or two things, and I will detail them right now. The facility for which this policy applies is the Canton Town Hall. The available hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., hours flexible at the discretion of the town clerk. It is a suggested donation of $10 for residents, $25 for non-residents. There's a maximum occupancy of 70 people, which is fire code, actually. In addition to the user fee listed above, a security deposit of $100 will be required for the use of the town hall at the discretion of the town clerk's office. Such security deposits will be returned promptly to the user if no damage has been caused to the town hall and if bulk cleaning activities have taken place. The sale and possession of drugs, and this codifies that, sale and possession of drugs and tobacco are forbidden on municipal property. The sale, possession, consumption, and use of alcoholic beverages are only permitted on municipal property as specifically described in the duly executed town hall use agreement. That's the other change, the other major change. So as two of the documents that I put together, one of them is a town hall use agreement for a one-time event, which handles basically one-time events. The other is for reoccurring events at which no alcohol will be served, because you can't really have a recurring event where people are that becomes a bar, and they're almost a private club. The agreement becomes a little bit longer. Because it includes the language that we need to have that protects ourselves. This is really, number 8 here. Injuries to persons and loss or damage to property. The municipality is not liable for any injury to persons or loss or damage to private property which occurs during the event. User is financially responsible for any damage to or loss of municipal property that occurs during the event. In addition, it allows the town to ask for insurance, which would be acquired at the expense of the person looking to rent the town hall, with naming the town as the beneficiary of that insurance, should something untoward happen. That is not necessarily needed at every single event and can in fact be waived through, and it really doesn't change the other aspects of this, including the indemnification and holding harmless of the town in their actions. But yeah, I mean, it's a really comprehensive document. I went through this extensively with the insurance adjuster, and everything in this document is A, legal language, and B, acceptable to all events and things like
Yeah,
that.
do you want us to sign it, or do we?
No, so we would have to sign the town hall use policy, which would become a policy that uses these two documents. The only other change would be a facility use agreement for meetings that are recurring. And in that case, there would be a one-time $100 suggested donation. And this is for events like, say, Nancy Spencer holding yoga here, making a one-time suggested donation. The additional aspect of this would be probably a bit tighter of a requirement for liability insurance. Because of these recurring events are oftentimes exercise classes or other events that would need a little bit more coverage. All of these user fees and, suggested donations and security deposits can be waived. There is a section in here saying that the select board may waive the user fee in events that are for not for profit and that serve legitimate public and community good. So there's, obviously we don't necessarily need to be charging every single person, but it gives us the option, and it also protects us legally. And I think that that's really necessary. And the gentleman from Passive was kind of surprised we didn't have anything.
Yeah, okay.
So I would ask the select board if you would sign that. These will be made available online for download and review by anyone who's interested in looking at them. That policy will be added into the ordinance policy book and will also be available online for anyone to look at. These, like I said, come straight from VLCT and pass their legal tests and protect the town from, all the things. I mean, it was really, the reason it came up was because somebody wanted to have a birthday party here and they asked me, can I bring my bounce house here? And I said, I shuddered thinking about some kid falling out of a bounce house and breaking his wrist, and then all of a sudden the town facing a lawsuit because for some reason, our town hall use agreement didn't specify no bounce houses or something like that. So it really gave me pause.
Have a waiver, have to sign a waiver.
We don't have a waiver on file. And I don't have legal language for a waiver. This provides us that legal language.
Yeah, Kathy?
Yes, Kathy.
I'm just getting a little concerned, and I know Kyle's doing his due diligence and stuff, but you two have just received that policy. You have not had a chance to read the whole thing. And yet you've already signed it.
Kathy, I have a little thing called trust. We have a hiring with Kyle. If there's an issue, I've read through it as quickly as I can. I trust him and the person he went through it with, and that I understand that, and I have to have, I'm sorry, Kathy, I'm sorry, Kathy. I have to go ahead and do that as part of my due diligence with Kyle. I work with Kyle, and this is something I've taken, and this is my style. You got a problem with that, that's okay. But when I see something like this is how I handle it. And if there's an issue, it falls on me, okay? Kathy, of course you can finish. Go ahead.
All right, I'm just concerned as to, did you as the select board members did not get this by mail, by email, ahead of time to look at it? And I think anything that you are signing up there, you should have before the meeting.
That's not a bad point. We have talked.
We don't have packets that are sent to us ahead of time. We just don't.
Maybe it's kind of scary.
Again, there's only X amount of hours our employees can do stuff. We have a lot of work going on here. And if we feel that's such a necessity, maybe we need to hire some more or put more hours on the part-time employee to cover those expenses, those events that we want. So, it's a lot of time and effort to do all this stuff and to perform it ahead of time. And so either we have faith in Kyle, what he's doing, or we're going to have it sent to us. And hopefully, whoever's on the select board at the time actually opens up the packet and reads all the things that goes through it, and, or just arbitrarily and capriciously just signs it because, you know, whatever, Kyle's right, and just signs it. So it really doesn't matter. So we could do it that way too, but it's a lot of work, so.
Yeah, but if you're leaving it up to one person, then.
Kyle didn't write that. Who did you walk it through? Who helped you draft that?
This is taken directly from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. They have this, they provided this language to me. I updated it and added in the language from our previous town agreement, which was written by the previous town clerk and Nancy Spencer. And then this language was, so that was included, and then I edited it to change it to make it more applicable to Panton in a couple sections, and provided us more control over, you know, being able to waive fees and things like that, because we're, you know, we're not looking to make a money-making enterprise here.
No, and I'm
No,
just saying,
that was really good.
I appreciate this isn't you coming last night at midnight whipping something up.
Oh, no,
I
wrote
might
this.
be misinformed, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I understand.
I wrote this last week after my meeting with the insurance adjuster.
Okay, that's all I need to hear. We do have public comment later too, but go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah, I have a question about, with the last town clerk sitting in a meeting, she was told she could make no comments about the business of the town because she was not the resident of the town. As the town clerk, she was not the resident of the town clerk. She was not authorized to run the town. So what has changed? The town clerk's job.
I would say you're off the subject here. We're talking more about town hall policy. And if you want to bring that subject in, then bring it up in when we have public comment, please.
Well, why?
I mean, you have to be, no, Sharon, we're talking about what's germane right now. This is what we're doing, and that's not what we're talking about. So if you want to bring it up in public comment, please do. So what are we going to do?
No, Howard, that's not, you're not listening to me.
What?
I said,
Okay.
why is someone making these decisions that you guys are supposed to be making that isn't even a resident of the town?
In terms of, I'm confused, Sharon.
Yeah.
Explain yourself. Explain yourself. What are you saying?
Explain myself.
Absolutely,
Okay,
please.
I'm wondering why you just said you're trusting the town clerk to make a decision that you yourselves as a select board should be making, reading beforehand and being informed enough to make a vote on it.
Okay.
And I'm saying that I don't think that that kind of stuff is up to the town clerk, because the town clerk's job, and I didn't bring that stuff tonight, is to manage the records, not make town decisions. Managing records is the town clerk's job.
Yeah, and I don't see anything about Kyle making a decision. This has been brought up, I probably can go back in minutes, I'm not sure, maybe 5, 6 meetings we've talked about a town usage policy. We've been well aware of it. Kyle finally brought us a proposal about what that would look like to have one in place and put on the website. Fantastic, love it. I'm gonna go with it. And if we got a problem with that, I love that you're here to comment about it. But I'm gonna make a motion to accept this proposal.
And I'll second it. All in favor? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, let us move on to the public records policy.
This was brought up, obviously it's been out for public comment. It's been on the website. It's been on the, it's been on our website. It's been on the alerts page for the last month or so. This was tabled at the previous meeting to allow for that public comment. I only heard from 2 people in relation to this. One of them was, well, I shouldn't, they were both very positive about it and made some very germane suggestions to the policy itself. What I would like to do is just give it till after town meeting, and we'll make an announcement at town meeting that people have, that's the last day, basically. And then at the next select board meeting, we'll agree. Because I feel as though there were several people who brought this up and didn't then, you know, didn't actually try to like edit or suggest anything. And I feel like I just want to make sure we have absolutely that this is totally going to, you know, pass the muster of the people who are looking at it. If that's okay with the select board.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Kyle. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, authorization expenditure of digitalization funds for the town hall.
You skipped
Oh,
Addition
sorry.
of Lister.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Addition to Lister, the assistant clerk job, description and hours update proposal.
Yeah, so I would like to propose to the select board that the assistant clerk take on, she already is doing the responsibility of Lister. She has been doing the work of the Lister now for the last, since I've been there, and probably longer. We estimate that it would be approximately 5 hours per week. There would be no benefits implications from that in terms of her qualifying or not qualifying or having something like that if she goes over a certain amount of hours. And it's really important to have a Lister because we're paying Alyth, Hescock's firm, $80 an hour for Lister work.
Yep.
Donna is not making $80 an hour doing Lister work, and the more that we can save by having people in our office do it, the less we have to pay other people to do it. She's already doing the work of the Lister. She's doing it admirably. She was just at a training in Castleton. She's not perfect yet, but it's a pretty steep learning curve, and she's getting better all the time. And I would, I appreciate her very much in the office, and I think that this would be an excellent addition to her position. The way it would be paid for, what I would hope to do is take that money out of the assessor and Lister budget line items to be able to cover this, and we can, it's not a guarantee of 5 hours per week, it's up to 5 hours per week. So some weeks it might be 0, some weeks it might be 6. So we're looking to kind of like make sure that it happens because it's very important that the work gets done.
Yeah. Sharon.
I don't think you can do this legally, because I have the statute right here that says, if the town has voted to eliminate the office of Lister, which they did, they were to notify the director of property evaluation and review within 14 days. I don't know if that took place because the vote was a while ago. And they are to employ or contract a professionally qualified assessor, which means a person that has an assessor's license, like Bill Benton or Bill Benton's son, a person that has an actual assessor license, which the assistant town clerk does not have. Okay? So I don't think you can legally assign.
Sharon.
the assistant town clerk to be a lister.
She is not a Lister at stake. What she is a
But you're
person.
giving her those duties.
Just, can I finish, please? She's hired to do paperwork and move the paperwork through the town office. That's what she does. And any form of Lister activity is done with a professional. And we do realize you need to have a license to be an assessor. So yes, thank you for pointing that out. She's not going to building sites and doing assessments. She's doing the paperwork in the office.
Okay, the last I heard is that they were.
Well, I'm just telling you what you heard and what she's actually doing. I just want, excuse me, hold on. I'm just telling you, this is what she does. And doesn't matter what you heard, this is the facts. She is working on the paperwork in the office. She is not going praising buildings or doing anything like.
What I was saying, what I heard from this select board is that they were talking to Bill Benton's office and about hiring them to do this work. Whatever happened to that, we never heard what happened.
It was at a previous select board meeting that we talked about it. We signed a contract with Alyth Hescock to resume his operations as assessor for the town.
Okay.
Because he did the whole town, so he's very experienced. Well, good.
Yeah, just one thing, Kyle, I mean, we could, the additional list, we want to make sure it doesn't say addition of, assessor to her job description. Just
No,
make
no,
sure.
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
and it really should, we could amend it to be Lister responsibility.
That's right. So not Lister official, but responsibilities.
I mean, the Lister responsibilities are obviously, some Lister responsibilities are property, property work, property evaluation. The state lists them as all kinds of different things.
Okay. Hold on,
Sharon.
just a moment. I'm gonna say, we've got public comment coming at the end, and Sharon, if you don't mind, we're gonna wait for more comments for that as we get through a couple more points here on the board.
But she's already doing a lot of the existing work, which is say reviewing tax exempt properties for accuracy, creating and maintaining the office systems, processing property transfers, doing current use, doing existing properties, recording, researching, updating changes, complete and accurate listing and assessing of all properties. She isn't doing the assessing part of it, but she's doing the updating part of it, all the PTTRs. And she's doing a number of the job requirements of lister without, I guess I misspoke. I'm not asking her to be lister, and I guess that is the.
No, it's an appropriate take. I think
But-
just, yeah,
But the lister
Have
work,
those
the responsibility
chopped
of the
up.
lister
That's
work,
right.
because it's taking a tremendous amount of her time as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then it's really important to have,
Okay.
make sure that somebody's at least
so check on that verbiage and yeah, we'll look at it. And add that in if necessary. Okay.
All right. Authorization expenditure of digitization fund to pay for the town hall sound system.
Yes, so I just need the select board to authorize the expenditure funds from the town hall digitization and IT fund for the purchase of the sound equipment.
What's the, do you have an amount?
I don't have the total yet. It was less than, it's probably gonna be less than $1,000.
Yeah,
So
I think you
moved.
got that last proposal. Okay.
Yeah, last time was about 500, and this time this added about 300 plus and some odd, and then some other microphones and stuff.
Yes, Kathy.
Okay.
If you're gonna mock me, you could like leave anytime.
It's okay. Hey, it's a fun Monday. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Kathy.
go ahead.
Is this coming from the reserve fund?
Yes.
So I guess I'm not understanding what it's not coming out. Line item.
Because what we're trying to do is reduce the reserve funds to an amount that we can adequately keep money in the bank for. We've increased them too much over the last 5 years. So we're trying to spend the money out of there. Also, if it doesn't come out of a line item in the budget, we don't have to worry about creating a tax situation going on. So we're using the money in the reserve fund to make sure we don't have to raise taxes to pay for things like this in the future.
I guess I would be more comfortable if we had a total amount.
So I didn't, because it was an ongoing process. I also,
I understand
Yes,
that, but I think it should be tabled until we got a total amount.
so the law, the statute about spending out of the reserve funds isn't that a monetary amount is necessary. It's that the select board has to authorize expenditure of those funds out of this particular fund in a warned and noticed meeting, but that the actual amount isn't listed as a requirement.
Yeah, but, sorry, I just don't.
We're aware. I mean, if it's something that's like all of a sudden it's $5,000, Kathy, I mean, obviously that's gonna raise flags, but we're aware it's gonna be from his proposals in the past select board meeting. It's gonna be in that
If
ballpark.
you do, I would say that you have to set a limit on
Well, I
it. You
mean,
can't spend more
Thank
than
you.
$1,200.
Let's make a motion.
yeah, I thank you for your comment. Okay.
Okay, do we need to make a motion on
Yes,
that?
please.
We're gonna authorize that. Make a motion to authorize the expenditure of digitization.
And I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, other business? It's okay.
Take your
Take your time.
No, not for me. Oh, yeah, other business. I just wanted to say, so in answer to a question from past weeks, the town clerk is bonded through passive up to $500,000. Doesn't need a separate bond. So I'm bonded through the insurance company.
Can we get a copy of that, please?
Well, this is our insurance property coverage declaration.
Oh, okay, you
So-
you don't have a thing that verifies that bond is taking place in any amount?
It's not a bond anymore. State law was amended in 2022 to allow for the town clerk to be covered under insurance policies.
So they only put $500,000 on money on.
It is employee theft and faithful performance, $500,000, any one occurrence.
Maybe one of her, okay.
So that is the change of state law was in 2022, so. And thank you for bringing that up, because I became educated on the process as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's it for me. I have no other business.
All right, let us move on to public comment. Yes, Sharon?
Yeah, I want to make a comment about the town report and the dedication to Rick, which I understand that's a nice thing to do for him, because he has been here a long time. I remember when he was hired and brought on, because I'm already living here. But that dedication is usually reserved for a resident of Canton and also a volunteer. I have never seen it be given to an out-of-towner, a person that does not live in the town as a paid employee. And I am wondering if this is an exception, because I would hate to see that continue. Because then, you know, I mean, it takes away the meaning of the town report dedication for local people that live in Canton and have lived here their whole life.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Sharon. Anyone else?
Looking at the board.
Yeah, Paula.
I wanted to just say that there are rules and procedures on the select board meetings. I believe they're posted on the wall back there. And the last time I think they were adopted maybe was in 2016, John Biscuit's signature is on that. And I would like to request that the select board return to those rules.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Melissa, Sharon, hold on, please.
You have to talk to them.
Yeah, thanks. Melissa?
Can you give us an update on the boundary?
Yes, I can do that. The survey has been completed. I'm in meetings with them. Kyle is also in meetings with them. We are having discussions and talks with where they are, what's going on with it. And so we're actually figuring out exactly what we're approximately are and where they are and how's it going to work. So it's a kind of a mess, and it needs to be kind of figured out between the two towns. And we have to develop a mutual agreement between both parties to be happy with the boundaries, what they are.
So what the boundaries look like now, so is Canton in Virgins right now? Is that true, or, I mean, can you give more information than that?
I mean, I don't think we can give more information than that. It's in total fact finding mode right now. Like, we don't even know what we don't know about the survey and about the things that have gone on. I mean, the problem's gone on for 300 years. So it's really, there's a lot to it, and it would be not like, it wouldn't be reasonable to just start, yeah, Pan's here and Virgins is here. We need more information, and that's what I've been doing, and that's what the city of Virgins has been doing over the last several weeks.
It's unfortunate because when they did boundaries, they just said like 10 feet from this oak tree or these pile of rocks. And that's what they kind of like lived with. And that goes for all the towns around us. It isn't actually been GPSed out exactly where everything is. And they were using what they call chain method of actually finding where things were. And so a lot of it is kind of off quite substantially. So, but we do have actually what the borders are supposed to be at. And so we're just trying to figure out where they are, what's going on with it. So that's what we're trying to do with that. But it's significant for us, so. Yes, Sharon.
Well, of course, the rules of procedure say that the select board meetings are supposed to be on Tuesdays at 6:30. So, I mean, is that something that you will be going back to them?
Well, we can amend those rules if we want to, or move them to a different day if we want to move the select board
It
meetings.
still does that, so that's what you read when you read them.
Okay, thank you for your point.
Thanks, Sharon. Anyone else? Yeah, Kathy?
I just wanted to know when Virgin's area rescue is going to change the name.
I think there was a misprint in the town report, and it was called something else besides Virgin's Area Rescue Squad. So apologies.
Select board's report. So I don't know who wrote the select board's report.
Yeah, I should have edited the select board's report more carefully, and that's my fault for not catching.
Or it could have been a printer's show, so, but whatever.
It's pretty significant name change.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Thank you
thanks,
for your
Kathy.
point.
Yeah, Melissa.
Is it, we have the truck loan with the Master Bank, and then we paid it down $10,000. Is there a possibility, I don't know, have you looked to see if the interest rates have changed, where we can finance that for the lower term? Is that something we look into?
The truck loan was with Community Bank. Oh, I thought you said National Bank. So the truck loan was with Community Bank. So the loan for Community Bank, because of the, we paid it down, we have 2.59 years of payments left.
Right, but we're paying, 5.19%, I don't know. if
Oh,
that's the
I see what
rate
you're saying.
and-
Yeah.
She wants to see if we can get a cheaper loan.
Yeah.
So can we-
We could take a look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more public comment? Yes, Sharon?
Well, I didn't get an answer to the question that I asked, the dedication was
So it's not a question that we're answering, and I appreciate your comment.
It's what?
It's not a question we're gonna answer based on that, so I appreciate your comment.
You're not going to answer?
That's correct, Sharon.
Yeah.
Any other questions for public comment?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're done.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for being patient.
I don't know. I'm gonna write.
I'm taking it, right?
I know, because I write hard. Yeah, I like, I smell it.
Oh, do you?
Megan will like it.
Oh, give it to her.
Yeah.